Common Council, bring it to order. I'd like for you to silence your phones if you haven't already and stand, face the flag, and join me and my fellow councilmen in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if you'll remain standing for our invocation. By Councilman McIntosh.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you today, giving you the praise and the glory. Father God, you woke each and every one of us up today in our right mind, fully dressed. Ask that you bless each and every one that's here and the homes that they represent. Bless this meeting, Father God, for the common council and all who have been involved in attending this meeting. And I ask that you continue to bless the leaders of our country, the leaders of our city, the leaders of our state. Father God, I will take this opportunity right now and ask you to comfort my brother councilman, Mr. Jerry Richmond, for his bereavement right now, for his brother Jim. Can we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. Now, if you will remain standing, please. In recognition of Black History Month, I'd like to read a quote from our 44th President of the United States, Mr. Barack Obama. The very fact of this day does not prove that America is perfect, but it does validate the ideas of our founding, that this country born of change, this country born of revolution, this country of we the people, this country can get better. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Our Citizens Recognition Award. Who is Councilman Garrett? Just before.
Yeah, packed house. It's nice to see everybody here. So this month I was going through, and we've all done a very good job of bringing forward people that are more than deserving of this award. And my wife works for Judy Calhoun in Circuit Court 1, and I was having not a hard time, but we have such a great following and such people that just love our community. Sometimes it gets a little difficult to figure out who you think this really needs recognition for this. And she told me about this and it blew me away. I fault myself for not knowing this organization until now. And I thank my wife and Judge Judy for bringing this to light that I can show everybody tonight. So my Citizen of the Month is going to Isaiah House 117. So thank you. All right, can you raise your hand if you're here for that? I'm going to pull my email up. This organization is, I've done a lot that is deserving, but they are unbelievably deserving for this. I mean, I just, to do what you do day in and day out, to make sure that you help these kids transition the safest and most best way possible is, thank you. It is beyond rewarding, and I commend each and every one of you for what you do. Thank you. So this is the Isaiah House. They, I'm going to pull this up real quick. Sorry. They're an organization that helps foster kids as they are coming from foster care to placement housing. And my son-in-law is a product of this, and I love him to death. He's a product of it, but he did not have your organization back when he went through it. But so they basically when you have your transition from foster housing or from placement to foster housing, they help transition. They help with this transition. They have a house where they allow kids to come. They give them blankets, they give them food, they give them love, they give them care. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but they give them conversation that they would not get. Normally, if it wasn't for them, it would be the Department of Child Services that could take days, that could take hours. But they give these kids somewhere where they have people there that are loving, that are there ready to talk to them, that give them clean clothes, that give them blankets, that give them food, that give them that peace of mind, as she quoted in there, in the hardest time of their life, which I couldn't imagine. And they work hand in hand with the courts and the Department of Child Services to make this transition as smooth and easy as possible for the children. I witnessed one time as a building inspector that we went to a home where we had to call the Department of Child Services to come take a family away. It is still to this day the hardest day of work I've ever had. And all I had to do was make a phone call. I didn't have to talk to the child. I didn't have to let him know that he wouldn't be with his parents no more, or that she wouldn't be with their parents no more. That's where they step in. And they are a non-for-profit, and they step in and they do this out of the graciousness of their heart. They help the Department of Child Services with these kids so they don't have to sit in a room for hours upon hours waiting on a placement family in dirty clothes and hungry and scared. They give them a place to go where they get clean clothes. They get a snuggly blanket. They get clean clothes, and they get the attention that they deserve and that they need in that time. So I can tell you that this is the most deserving Citizen of the Month that I have ever passed out. So I have a gift from Judge Judy in Circuit Court 1. I'm going to start the donations now. They are doing our groundbreaking. I believe it's on the 17th, right? Oh, they did it on 17th of January. So they are doing they have a building. They're going to get behind them, please. They have been graciously gotten behind by businesses and local, everybody has helped. So there's no better way to give your money than this. There's no better way to give your money to know that a child is getting the care they need from coming from their parents, placed into their new home. There's nothing that we can do that does better than that. I have a saying that says it starts at home. Help these children start at their new home. Please donate. Please help, and please stand and give me the biggest round of applause you can for the Isaiah House 117, the Citizen of the Month.
Give all the volunteers a second here. So this is just a glimpse at our volunteer and support team right now. We kicked off back in May of 2023, and since then the community support has just been amazing. Like he said, back on January 17th, we had our groundbreaking, and it was beyond freezing. I was hoping to have 30, maybe 40 people. There was more than 130 people that came out there. So that is just an insight to where we're at as far as getting involved into the community. Just within the past year, we've logged more than 2,000 service hours and more than 200 volunteers within the area. Now coming up on, get the date wrong, on February 18th, we are having a contractor's lunch, and this is where we are inviting anyone in the community that would like to have hands on the build, plumbers, roofers, any tradesmen. We need the community support to get this house built as quickly and efficiently as possible. So we invite you to come for lunch and learn more about the Isaiah 117 house. Thank you.
These are flyers I'm just going to leave up here. So if anyone wants more information, thank you.
Thank you.
Please grab a flyer. Like I said, there's nothing that can help better than this. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. And our next month's Citizen of the Month will be Sarah Gullion. Okay, is Yvonne Thompson here? Yeah. Okay. Right now, we're going to recognize the winners of the Black History Essay Contest. We'll let you, Ms. Thompson handles those duties.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I'm going to introduce the ladies that are actually the ones in charge of it. Dr. Kendra Lowry and come on. Rhonda Ward.
Rhonda and I work very closely on this award, and this is my first year being the chair. So we are going to invite our 3 winners to come up and read one at a time. We had over 300 entries for this contest that's sponsored by the Martin Luther King Dream Team. And we have a first place winner for elementary, middle, and high school. So we'll start with elementary. Is Helen Fan here? And Helen goes to, would you like to say where you go and what grade you're in? Or do you want,
Ever stand?
you want to say what grade you're in and what school you go to?
I'm in 5th grade and I go to Burris Laboratory School.
Okay, so you can put your essay up here and read it.
Centered in grace, how Misty Copeland inspires me. A ballerina soars across the stage, landing in a graceful plie, then pivots gracefully in piqué turns before returning to her partner for a pass to the wicks. As she and her partner engage in complicated moves and lifts, you start to wonder who she is. You've wondered about her because she's the best dancer, the one who gets all the lead roles. She's not just any dancer, she's a principal dancer, and not just any principal dancer. It's Misty Copeland, a principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater. In 2015, Misty Copeland became the first African-American woman to be named the principal dancer in ABT's history. This is a historical achievement, as ABT is one of the 3 leading classical ballet companies in the U.S., and historically, the ballet community has suffered from a lack of diversity. Her biggest contribution to the civil rights movement was breaking racial barriers in ballet, and she represents what it stands for. She faced financial challenges in her youth, but after given a chance to learn ballet at the age of 13, she quickly progressed and was en pointe within a few months. Misty Copeland is a role model for me, as I relate to her as I am also from an underrepresented ethnicity and have also been studying ballet. Her achievements question the old ideas about race and who gets to perform ballet on stage. Even when she had to constantly adapt to new changes, she continued to study hard and put forth her best effort. Sometimes, when I feel like giving up, I think of her and realize she never gave up, inspiring me to strive to be like her, to fulfill my own dreams and wishes. Thank you.
And next up is our middle school winner, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Avery Pease, and I wrote my essay on Claudette Colvin. We all know Rosa Parks. In simple sentences, she was a Black woman who sat in the front of the bus and didn't get up for someone who felt they had more power because of unfair rights. But how about the 15-year-old who did the same thing Rosa Parks did 9 months before her? The little girl who stood her ground for what was right. That was Claudette Colvin's story the afternoon of March 2nd, 1955. But for some reason, her story wasn't as global and shared as much as Parks. And I would like to bring a recognizing light to her story. Colvin was born September 5th, 1939 in Montgomery, Alabama. Raised by her aunt, uncle, Mary Ann and Q.P. Colvin, who lived in a low-paid area of Montgomery. Colvin attended Booker T. Washington, a school for African American students, where Colvin and other students discussed the many forms of segregation they face in their daily lives. Claudette joined the NAACP Youth Council, where she was mentored by Rosa Parks in 1952, where they discussed the boycott and inspirational names such as Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette caught the bus after school as it was filled. On this occasion, a white woman entered the bus. Bus driver Robert W. Clear ordered Colvin and 3 other Black passengers to move to the back of the bus. The 3 others moved, but Colvin stayed still. Another Black woman came in and sat right next to Colvin. Her name was Ruth Hamilton. Hamilton was heavily pregnant and didn't feel able to stand. Once again, the driver demanded that Colvin and Hamilton leave their seats. Police showed up. Hamilton moved, but Colvin still refused. They forcibly removed her from her seat, and she shouted that her constitutional rights were being violated. Colvin was handcuffed and arrested. Colvin got charged for disturbing the peace, segregation laws, and attacking a police officer. Part of the reason why Colvin's story didn't go as global like Rosa Parks did is because many adults called her young and feisty. Many adults didn't trust a young person to be the face of the case. Her story didn't get recognition until years later. History kept me stuck to my seat. I felt the hand of Harriet Tubman pushing me down on one shoulder and So Junior Truth pushing me down on the other. A quote from Claudette Colvin. Her story didn't just make a positive change during the civil rights movement, but pinned a point for me and other young Black women. We're not too young to fight for what's right and make a change. We can be our own advocates even when others don't believe in us. Thank you.
Okay. I had the pleasure of attending the go ahead, breakfast Saturday morning, and I kind of heard these essays, and I'm telling you, they blew me away.
And now I present to you our high school winner.
My bad, man.
Hi, I'm Michaela Gibson, and I am a 9th grader at Muncie Central High School. My essay is called Finding My Own Truth with Sojourner. Sojourner Truth once said, "Life is a hard battle anyways. If we laugh and sing a little as we fight the good fight of freedom, it makes it all go easier. I would not allow my life's light to be determined by the darkness around me." When I was in 7th grade, life was rough for me. I was severely depressed. I couldn't find my worth as a young Black girl. Then my math teacher, Miss Edwards, told me that I have a purpose, and she said, "Continue to strive for greatness." She said, "Be resilient like Sojourner Truth." And that was the first time I had ever heard that name. The lost woman of our past stayed right here beside us, and Sojourner Truth walked beside me as I read about her back in middle school. I learned she was a remarkable Black woman who made significant contributions to the abolitionist and women's rights movements. She shaped the future and influenced the civil rights movement in America by her words and the way she never let racist society stop her flow. Sojourner Truth's speeches and advocacy taught me that if I use my voice for the better and not for the worse, the world can change for the better too. A star always has a backstory. Born into slavery as Isabella Baumfree, she later took on the name Sojourner Truth, reflecting her loyalty to speaking the truth. Sojourner Truth's life was molded by the harsh realities of slavery, which she experienced firsthand. As any young woman, she endured physical and emotional abuse, as well as the trauma of being separated from her family. However, her resilience and determination to fight for her freedom and the freedom of others will become the driving force behind her remarkable journey. One of Sojourner Truth's most famous contributions was her powerful speech, Ain't I a Woman?, delivered at the 1851 Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. In this speech, she challenged the idea that women were weak and inferior, using her own experience as a strong, hardworking slave to demonstrate the fallacy of such beliefs. Her words resonated with the audience and became a rallying cry for the women's rights movement, inspiring generations of activists to come. Sojourner Truth's impact extended beyond the women's rights movement. She also played a crucial role in the abolition that led to the civil rights movement. Truth traveled extensively, giving speeches and lectures that called for the immediate abolition of slavery. Her personal experiences as a slave gave her the unique perspective and credibility, and her powerful oratory skills captivated audiences and helped sway the public's opinion in favor of the abolitionist cause. She also worked to secure land grants for former slaves, ensuring that they had the means to build a new life for themselves and their families. Sojourner Truth laid the path to the civil rights movement. As we think about Sojourner Truth's contributions, it is important to recognize that her work faced a lot of challenges and setbacks. We know that all too well, the way that Black people's skin brings caution signs. Truth faced a lot of controversy and discrimination for her determination and courage in the face of adversity made her inspirational for those of us who continue to fight for a more just world. Like me, I am inspired by Sojourner Truth. She makes me want to break free from these chains of oppression. White society tries to put us in a box of something unknown and unwanted. But like Sojourner Truth, I'm going to continue to shine my light even when they close their eyes, because I shine like the sun, and when I do, I make a good difference. Looking into the future, Sojourner Truth's legacy is a reminder of the powerful of individual actions and importance of standing up for someone else's beliefs, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As we continue to have issues of racism, sexism, and social injustice in America, Sojourner Truth's example reminds us that the progress is possible when we as Black women speak up and show our strength and brilliance. I am really glad that I learned about Sojourner Truth. Her life and words make me shine my life's light and refuse to be determined by the darkness around me.
And we can't end without giving a big thanks to Reed Levitz and Northwest Bank, who sponsor the essay contest with monetary prizes to our first, second, and third place winners. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Present.
Present.
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve or any changes to be made in the minutes from the January 6th meeting as presented.
Motion moved.
So moved. Second.
A motion was made by Councilperson Selvey, seconded by Councilperson Powell. Roll call, please.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Garrett,
Yeah.
Mr. Dishman,
Yes.
Mr. Basham,
Yes.
McIntosh,
Yes.
Ms. Scullion,
Yes.
Ms. Selby,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
Yes.
President Mason.
Yes. Okay, committee reports. Are there any committee reports for the council?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I have a report for the Land and Traffic Committee. We met on January 22nd, dealing with the questions that we had and some of the questions the citizens had about our annexations. that are on the agenda tonight. We are still in the fact-finding mode. A lot of stuff came late, so as a committee, we weren't able to vote whether to go positive or negative as a recommendation. So I'm just going to pass this on to the council.
Okay. We'll go to ordinance.
Excuse me, can I make a brief announcement about the Ethics Commission?
Wait, hold on just a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Very briefly, just want to announce the Muncie Ethics Commission first meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, February 12th. It will be here at 6 p.m. There will very likely be a second meeting in February on the 26th, also here at 6 p.m. So anyway, just had a chance to let y'all know we're about to get started. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, board appointments. Are there any appointments to boards or committees?
Mr. President, I believe we have the land bank appointments. The mayor had appointed Jim Lowe to the Ethics Commission, which was a great appointment. But it also means that Mr. Lowe was the council's appointment to the land bank. So our land bank appointment is now open. And so I would like to nominate John West, Dr. John West, to that appointment.
I'll second that. Okay. The motion has been made and seconded to nominate Mr. John West to fill the vacancy of Mr. Jim Lowe. We do a roll call vote.
Does the man speak?
Any other nominations?
I think Mr.
Hearing
West might
none.
wanna speak.
Is Mr. West here?
Mhm.
Would you like to?
I'll just speak from over here.
You gotta come up here.
Unfortunately. If I seem a little shy, it's because I can't match the eloquence of those kids. Holy
Oh,
mackerel,
that
that
was
was
sweet.
unbelievable. What a bright shining light for me today. Thank you very much to those award winners. I work here to ask for your nomination to the Muncie Land Bank. The mission of the Land Bank is to acquire, preserve, and repurpose abandoned property. I've been serving on the Land Bank board in various capacities for the past 7 years. My role as the chair of the urban planning department and an urban planning professor, my role on the board is to try to make resources from my department available to the land bank. I think we've run 6 or 7 classes that have focused on land bank issues, have led to development proposals and properties that we've acquired. And I really enjoy playing that role. I really enjoy when my students get to know what a wonderful place Muncie is. And I really enjoy when their advice is taken seriously by a significant organization like the Muncie Land Bank. And I also wanted to recognize the service of Jim Lowe. He's been a fantastic colleague for the past 2 years. Thank you very much for your service. And I want to thank the council for the nomination. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, again, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. West.
Back on the block.
Okay. To ordinances previously introduced. Ordinance 3124.
Ordinance 31-24. An ordinance of the city of Muncie, Indiana, annexing certain territory to the city of Muncie, Indiana, placing the same within the corporate boundaries thereof, and making the same a part of the city of Muncie, Indiana. Annexation area number 3, city-owned parcel near Farmington neighborhood.
Okay, is there a motion for approval of this ordinance?
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please. Oh, any discussion? Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Good evening, council. We are here to answer any questions, I suppose. I mean, we've kind of gone through this in the last couple of meetings and at the committee. So if there's anything else that you need information on, we'd be happy to provide it.
Council have any questions? Comments? Any members of the public have any questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, ordinance 32-24.
Ordinance 32-24, an ordinance of the city of Muncie, Indiana, annexing certain territory to the city of Muncie, Indiana, placing the same within the corporate boundaries thereof, and making the same a part of the city of Muncie, Indiana. Annexation area number 4, Westminster Village.
Is there a motion for approval of this ordinance?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to move that the council adopts ordinance 3224.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded, that we adopt ordinance 3224. Any question? Is there anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance?
Good evening. Obviously, we spoke at the Land and Traffic Committee, and we've spoken here before. And you know, the biggest impact to city services with this annexation of Westminster does fall on the fire department, fire and EMS protection. So I would assume, obviously, that a lot of your questions probably center around that. So I guess I can start by any questions you guys have. I'll do my best to answer them.
Does council have any questions or comments? Mr. Garrett?
In regard to the Westminster property, is there, I remember walking through and I just kind of want to be, I don't know if there was or not, but, and I don't know what to call them, but like I call them old school fire hydrants, like on the walls, with the hookups and the hose. that
You're
kind
talking
of
about hose
pull up.
cabinets?
Yes.
Mhm.
How many do they have in Westminster now?
Well,
And is it enough, do you feel,
Okay.
to suppress if something?
we don't do inspections at Westminster right now because we don't provide primary fire protection. So at which point that would, you know, come and fall underneath the purview of our inspection department, I would be able to answer those questions for you.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, as far as a municipal fire department arriving, we don't rely on the hose cabinets. We don't rely on them in the dorms at Ball State. We don't, just because they get disconnected, things get put in them. Probably not much chance there's going to be a can stuck inside one at Westminster Village, but it is something that we've seen at Ball State, but cans and bottles and such. So we don't rely on them, but that is part of what is required from them. But like I said, if the time comes that we respond to that area, then our protection or our fire prevention bureau will go there and do an inspection of the facility. And I'll be able to answer that for you at that time.
And kind of going off of that, the neighborhood behind there and the villas, they both have fire hydrants located in the neighborhoods and the villas, correct?
They do, and that's
Okay.
actually inside of the city limits right now.
Okay, yeah, I figured, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. President.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah,
Councilman
Chief,
Dishman.
Chief Burford. Gaston Volunteer Fire Department covers Westminster Village right now, right?
That is correct. It lies
What
in,
is their response time?
Well, they are approximately 9 miles away. And then depending on response would depend on if somebody was on station or not. That is data that can be utilized, but I believe what was put forth to me was about 16-minute average response time from their station to theirs. But the standards that we go off of are not just the initial response time, but it's also how long it takes for your first arriving complement to arrive. So which NFPA standards say that your first alarm dispatch group should arrive within 8 minutes. And so that is something, and so with the city of Muncie, with commercial response, we would be able to do that.
So what's the city of Muncie's response time?
That falls right at the edge at the 5 to 7 window. So we're right at the 5 minute where that one transitions out based on the station studies we did last year for the new Station 6.
So Westminster is better off with the Muncie Fire Department.
We believe so, yes. Yes.
And you guys will have a ambulance in number 7?
That is going to be up to how we can appropriate the user fees into our budget, but that is the plan, but that is still something that would have to come before you.
Where would the ambulance come from now?
Well, that response area right now is covered by Medic 5 at our Tillotson station, which is primary for the whole northwest side of Muncie, which obviously is our most expansive and our most densely populated area.
Because I'd like to see the city cover that for those people out there, because, minutes is life-saving.
Yeah.
You know that.
It obviously, yeah, it makes a big difference. And the fact that if we can staff that Medic 7 with user fees from this one piece of annexation, that benefits everybody in the city. That improves our EMS efficiency by 20% based off of one small parcel of annexation. Just the user fees.
I'm all for saving lives, so I wish you all the best on your response times.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Ms. Powell.
Could you kind of go over, and I appreciate you having all the conversations that you've had,
Mhm.
and I know EMS Chief Miller has, and everybody. Could you kind of go over what we were discussing before the meeting about staffing and how the districts might change if this annexation goes through to kind of,
Yes, and
because
so,
one of the, I almost said President Dishman, like Councilman Dishman, Medic 7 being around to alleviate some of the issues for Medic 5 is really what's priority for me, is making the workload less for 5s and decreasing some of their stress, as opposed to even adding more area, which would be wonderful if Medic 7 were open, but you said sometimes that might not happen. And so could you kind of
yes,
reduce fears on letting us know how everything will change then?
yes. So right
Thank you.
now, the whole north side's primary response originates from Station 5 on Tillotson and Station 6 over on MLK.
Mhm.
So they take those two engine companies' first arriving territory, and then they split what is Truck 7, which is where Medic 7's territory would go. Right now on the northwest side of Muncie, we respond outside ambulances into that territory almost 38% of the time. And that's because that area is so busy. So that pulls Medic 6 out of our Station 6 all the way across the city. It pulls Medic 1 from downtown. Those are the ones that go first to that area, and then it works its way around the city. So not only when Medic 6 goes out of its territory to go to 5's area, then another medic unit has to cover their area. It's a snowball effect for us. So putting a Medic 7 in, that would run in what would be Truck 7's primary response territory. If I had a map here, it'd be easier to show you, but it divides down Wheeling to Bethel. Yeah, thank you. And then goes up Bethel to McGalliard, and then everything north of that location and to the west of Walnut becomes a Medic 7's area, where then Medic 5 takes everything basically to the south of Bethel, down to the river. So that was what would happen there. So even a good portion of Medic 6's territory now would be alleviated, where Medic 7 would be the primary unit responding. So when we ran the data based off the days we've had a Medic 7 this year, with having additional staffing during these low vacation personal day times, we ran the data and we reduced the call volume. And this is just a small parcel of time that we were able to get. That was 9 days that ambulance was in service at the time we ran the numbers. And so annually we decreased the number of times that Medic 1 was running And by adding this, this tells us that's only when they responded out of their territory into Station 5's area. Per year, that would be roughly right now, based on these numbers, 474 times that Medic 1 in a year would be running to Medic 5's territory, which they would be in their downtown first due station. 621 times Medic 2, which is the farthest unit from this area of annexation. It's going to alleviate 621 calls from that unit. And that's because it's backfilling up as we really require that, or would prefer to have that unit up there. Medic 3 was 110 call reduction. Medic 5 at our Station 5. Right now, when that went in, that would alleviate 1,095 calls from that ambulance in a year's time, making them available to respond to those primary calls in their immediate district. Medic 6, which is your district, Mr. Mason, 584 calls. 584 times that ambulance is out of its territory responding to other calls. So just the addition of that one ambulance. Now, be mindful, this is 9 days of data. So depending on, what the time of year we had and where we're at. But as this continues to grow, it's easy for us to pull this data. And we would look at maybe even changing some of the areas even more to balance out the whole city. The object is to not overwork a couple medic units and keep everything balanced, keep everybody in their areas as much as possible. Now, you spoke to the staffing. Our goal and what we believe, and we're very confident in this, is that with this additional revenue using to cover overtime, that we would be able to keep Medic 7 in service. Now, on the occasion that we could not get people to work, which isn't a problem for us anymore, now that we're back up to full staff and everything, but on the occasion if something happened or something went crazy and we did need to reduce our staffing back down, we would remove Medic 7, but dispatch would automatically put everything back where it is today for that period of time. So it's all set up where those things move as we add Medic 7 on a day or we eliminate them. It adjusts all of that to keep things as balanced as we possibly can at the moment and keep our response times as low as possible. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Any other questions? Comments?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Chief.
I'm sorry. I do have one quick
Yes.
question. So did I see that if that had been a for-profit, if that building was for-profit, the amount of taxes that were coming in was just only about $10,000? Is that correct?
Based
If it
off the
were-
assessments,
if
based off the
that's right now?
assessments, they're 42% of the 3%
Mhm.
would come to about
So it'd
$10,400
only be
annually.
$10,000. Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And I'm getting one of these.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Jason Chafin, President, Local 1348. You guys have been getting my emails and texts and stuff, so I don't want to bother you, too much more tonight, but I just wanted to add, and Chief Burford did a great job explaining everything, so, I'm not going to repeat him, but I want to add a little bit to the human factor of this. I got, guys, some of these guys sitting here, guys, that it's important to them and their lives, because they work at a busy, per capita, the busiest fire station, fire department in the city, or in the state, with what we do with 122 people, no one else does. When we can alleviate and we can have this revenue from Westminster, give our staffing give us the revenue to staff Medic 7, we make their lives better. When you run on Medic 5, which I think a lot of us firemen in this room have done that, you spend 24 hours taking calls. You might have an hour or two in breaks in the middle, but it's a long day. It's a hard day. If we, what we can do here is make their jobs a little better. As far as that 24 hours that they spend at work, by doing like what Chief Burford just said and taking those calls away. And in doing so and making my guys' jobs, lives a little better, we're also making the citizens of Muncie's lives even better too. And the way people at Westminster, like Councilman Dishman said, their lives better too, because we will respond faster to everywhere. You know, when we can keep those ambulances in their districts, we can respond better. Everybody in Muncie, from the farthest south you can go to the farthest east you can go, the farthest west you can go, will have better coverage. You know, and I wanted to go back on one question Councilman Garrett had. I spent most of my career at Station 5, you know, until just recently. We ran at Westminster for several years as a, you know, an add-on to the county coverage from a fire standpoint. They do have a phenomenal job when it comes to their extinguishers, their hydrants. You know, obviously, like Chief Burford said, we'll inspect it once we, you know, if we were to get it. But they, you know, they were impressive during that time when we responded, you know, as a complementary unit back during those few years we did that. You know, in the late 2017, 18, 19, you know, in that area of time frame. They did a very good job keeping their building really, really nice, you know, and so like I said, that's all I got. You guys have been getting my emails and stuff, so you know how we feel and how the guys feel. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. President, may I ask Mr. Chafin, what
Absolutely.
you mentioned revenue. What is your estimated revenue?
Well, the estimated revenue, I mean, you know, like Chief River, I think, said in the past, and we talked about in the Landed Traffic Committee, the revenue from this, because they are non-for-profit, the revenue would be the EMS user funds.
That's right.
We take, you know, somewhere around 285 calls, I think maybe it was last year, you know, I mean, a little bit less than a call a day to Westminster. You know, these people are all on Medicare at least. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, I mean, most of them probably have even better than that. We won't know the way medical billing works. We won't know exactly what the revenue is until we start getting the revenue. So we've used, I think, kind of like bottom level numbers with you guys, because we didn't want to say we're going to make this and then come you know, short on you guys. So we've used numbers like, you know, $100,000 up to $177,000 in that range. There's a good chance it's even more than that. You know, we won't know until we do it, because we don't have access to their private insurance until we start doing it. But so let's just say the bottom floor number is $100,000 that our EMS fund user fees would generate for the city. You know, if we then we use that to the overtime, they would take to keep our staffing levels at the level that we would need to keep Medic 7 in service, not just the 9 days we've had so far, or it's been more than that now, but all year, you know, most all days, you know, and then, you know, to give everybody that better coverage. So it's just a unique opportunity to annex one spot, create that user fees, and then make a better and add one more ambulance for everybody. So,
and Mr. President, may I just add, I have walked through there recently, and they're very excited about fire service, but they're also excited about having library service.
Library.
Oh,
I get that. I would imagine. I would
Right.
imagine. You know, and I think I put this in one of my emails. You know, a lot of these people that would live in that building are Muncie residents. They grew up here. They live here. You know, they've spent their lives here. You know, they just reside in their twilight years right outside our border right now.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely, I can see that. They probably used the library for years, maybe in some cases. So.
Any other questions or comments from council? Any other questions or comments from the public?
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, roll call, please.
yes.
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 Yes. Okay, ordinance 1-25.
Ordinance -125, an ordinance amending chapter 159 floodplain management of the Muncie Code of Ordinance.
Is there a motion for approval of this ordinance?
I'll make the motion. Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded, made by Garrett, seconded by Gillian.
Hi there, Alan Wisely with the City Attorney's Office. I'm one of the Assistant City Attorneys. Last month, Building Commissioner Rawlings was here to explain this ordinance. Every few years, the city is required to update this ordinance in accordance with the new requirements from FEMA and the Indiana Department of Natural Resources in order for property owners in the city of Muncie to continue to participate in the federal floodplain insurance program. Without this program, the property owners in the city of Muncie who live within the floodplain would not be able to get insurance on their properties.
Any questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from the public? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, ordinance 2-25.
Ordinance dash 2-25, an ordinance to vacate a certain public alley in the John J. Perkins addition to the city of Muncie, Delaware County, Indiana.
Is there a motion for approval of this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Selvey, seconded by Councilman Green.
Alan Wisely again, with law firm of Beasley Gilkison. I'm here representing Avondale United Methodist Church, which I'm also a member of. I have here with me Mr. Rapid Waters. He is the chairman of the church council. So we went through this, had a public hearing last month. This is an alley that runs through the church's parking lot. It's paved over as part of the church's parking lot, and it's where the handicap parking spots and the wheelchair ramp are for the church. So the church is just asking that this alley be vacated, and all of the property owners who abut this alley have signed off, and all will continue to have access out to the public right away.
Any questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from anybody in the public? Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Uh-oh.
Yes.
I did the same thing.
Okay, new ordinances.
Ordinance 3-25, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance from the R-4 Resident Zone to the BC Community Business Zone on premises located at the northwest corner of the intersection of West Memorial Drive and South Sampson Avenue, Muncie, Indiana.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Sorry. So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Motion made by Ms. Selvey, seconded by Councilman McIntosh. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to, my name's Jacob Wagner. I'm the listing broker on the building representing for the East Central Indiana Regional Planning Commission. The whole purpose of the zone change would just so, I mean, obviously it's zoned for multifamily as already, but the idea would be to refurbish the building so apartments can go back into that building and also have commercial space on the bottom. I'm sure you guys have seen photos of the building, but it's pretty bad shape. So I think it'd be good for it and good for the area as well. So.
Mr. President, Planning Commission give it a 7-2 absences favorable.
Favorable? Okay. there any further discussion from the council? Any further comments from the public?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll take a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Ordinance number 4-25.
Ordinance that, I don't keep saying dash, ordinance 4-25. An ordinance to amend the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance from the R-4 resident zone to the BV Variety Business Zone on premises located at the south side of West Williamsburg Boulevard, 385 east of North Morrison Road, Muncie, Indiana.
Is there a motion for introduction of the ordinance?
Motion made.
I'll second that.
Got to discuss it.
Who made the motion? Motion. Okay, motion made by Councilman McIntyre, seconded by Councilman Garrett. Anyone from the public here wish to speak on this? Vote in, please.
Here we go. Should the requester come first?
Yeah.
Yes.
You do, okay.
Go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Steve Surveys. I'm representing the developer on the site. We'd like to request this be continued for a month to give us a little bit more time to prepare some additional documentation. It seems like there's so many people that had questions at the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission had even asked us for information that typically you wouldn't have for a rezone. So it just gives us a little bit more time to bring something to the council that we can share with everyone.
Okay, Plan Commission's recommendation was unfavorable
Yes,
by a 7-0 vote.
we understand that.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you. Is there a reason why you didn't bring those plans forward before all this?
Typically for a rezone, you don't have plans or anything like that. We can prepare a concept plan to show what we had, but typically when you do a rezone, you don't go into plan development or anything like that until you know that you're getting approved. It costs the client a lot of money that could be wasted, if you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking for a continuance,
Till the next meeting, yes.
so we could table this?
Could we have comments before you do
Or,
that?
well, yeah, before.
Yeah, if someone wants to make that motion, you could table it. But
Let's hear
there's already
comments
enough people
first.
here, I'd hear them out first.
Okay. Let's hear, anybody else have any questions, comments?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening,
Hello?
President Mason, City Council members. I am Jim Lowe. I live at 2501 North Kensington Way in Robinwood. So my property is adjacent to this property under consideration. So I've sent all of you emails. So what I'm about to read, and please bear with me, I want to read into the minutes, could be pretty repetitive, but we are opposed to, and as many homeowners are opposed to granting of this change in zoning for this particular parcel. And as you just heard, the recommendation from the Planning Commission was 7-0 unanimous, unfavorable recommendation. And it was a good meeting. It was a good discussion during that meeting. But this land north of us has a long history of zoning requests. So I'm going to repeat those. In 1991, Variety Business was considered. 1991, a planned unit development. 1995, Variety Business. In 2012, Variety Business. Kind of get the sequence here. And then now, Variety Business. So as a result of these multiple zoning requests, we've been subjected to an intense increase in Variety Business north of our neighborhoods, or VV Variety Business zoning encroachment from McGuire south up to our backyards. and just give you a kind of a glimpse of what used to be. When we built our house in 1989, there was no Walmart, there was no Lowe's, there was none of that property was, and we knew it would be variety of business at some point in time, but not up to the backyards of our properties. But our neighborhood, as you guys know, is R2, R5. Many years ago, I served on the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals. So I know that good zoning should limit allowing variety business land next to residential land where homeowners have invested a large portion of their income and anticipate a good quality of life. We built our house in 1989, so we have personally, I did today actually, the noise from one of the businesses, endured the negative impact to our lives created by the activity of many numbers of the businesses that have opened and closed in that area. We have noises all hours of the day, high dBA levels from a local business. I'm working with Nate Sloan to try to figure out how to rectify that situation. Trash in our yard that comes from these businesses, all night light pollution, the smells from semi trucks, the noise from dumpsters being emptied at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's better than an alarm clock, actually. Loudspeakers used by the various businesses to call their employees, concerts held at the musical instrument store on weekends and late hours of the night, high-pitched noise, never think of this, but noise from a healthcare supplier that was offloading oxygen from their high-pressure storage tanks, and it just was piercing into our neighborhood. And these are things that you wouldn't think of that impacts our lives. Pedestrians trespassing through our yards, some running to escape being caught after shoplifting. You may recall someone was shot and killed several years ago in Walmart's parking lot. And then several years ago, this has probably been 5 to 10, there was someone killed, a motorist was killed at the intersection of Williamsburg and Morrison. So a big traffic situation has started to occur in that area. So our concerns are not reacting out of fear of what might be. It's reality, and it's taking place now. And will only intensify with the further encroachment of variety business. So listed in the application is the intent to build a gas station and a hotel. But as you know, once the parcel is changed to variety business, anything listed under variety business can be built. So with no plan, you can build anything at that location. And under variety business permits BL limited, CB central, BL limited business. These permitted uses are liquor stores, taverns, television towers, adult entertainment, adult bookstores, shooting galleries, and a gas station, and the proposed hotel. If our community, if we do not maintain a quality place for homeowners, nobody's going to want to live here. The result is less businesses that will be sustainable over a period of time. So I'm hopeful that you will take under consideration the negative impact that variety business will and has had on our quality of life living in Muncie, and ultimately oppose the request. Thank you. Do you have any questions of me? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
State your name, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Carrie Milliner. I'm the president of Eagles Nest Association, and this consists of 24 families. I stand before you on behalf of the residents who strongly oppose the rezoning request that it would allow a gas station and a 4-story hotel to be built directly behind our 1-story condominiums. The residents of Eagles Nest chose this neighborhood for its quiet residential character and sense of security it provides. Many of the residents are elderly individuals ranging in the age of 70 to 98. Unfortunately, due to health limitations, most of our families could not be here tonight, but we stand together united in our opposition to the rezoning. The development would have a devastating impact on our community. Traffic on Morrison at Williamsburg Boulevard is already congested. Adding a gas station and hotel would only make this worse. Increased traffic means more noise, pollution, and a greater difficulty for emergency services. The bright illumination from the gas station and hotel would reflect directly into our homes, disrupting our privacy and quality of life. Many of us moved to Eagles Nest specifically for its peaceful environment. The towering presence of our 4-story hotel looming over our 1-story homes would be unacceptable. It would overshadow our properties, diminish our privacy as well as our property values, and fundamentally alter the character of our neighborhood. The residents of Eagles Nest have worked hard to build a safe, comfortable community, and we urge you to consider the profound impact this rezoning would have on our lives. On behalf of Eagles Nest families, I respectfully ask you to deny this rezoning request. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have questions for me? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Connie Wygant. I'm a resident of Eagles Nest, which our homeowners association president just spoke of. I'm here, I'm going to just read this because I'm not a good speaker, but I have prepared this statement. I'm here on behalf of my neighbors and myself to express our strong opposition to the zoning change application submitted by Mr. Sumukh Singh for property in the 4300 block of Williamsburg Boulevard. We feel the change in use from R2 to business variety for the purpose of building a hotel will adversely affect the residents and homeowners of Robinwood Estates, Eagles Nest, and those homes on North Morrison from Wedgwood Lane down to the AutoZone blank lot. The presence of a hotel towering over our modest 1- and 2-story homes will not only destroy the aesthetics of our neighborhood, but it will also negatively affect our quality of life. First, the increase in traffic a hotel will bring to an already dangerous and heavily used section of North Morrison Road poses safety concerns for pedestrians and motorists alike. Secondly, the presence of a hotel in our midst will not only disrupt our peace and safety, it has the potential to cause health concerns for residents. Light pollution from illuminating large buildings like hotels has been scientifically proven to disrupt our circadian rhythm and suppress our production of melatonin. These then lead to sleep disruption, fatigue, increased anxiety, and other mood disorders, eye strain, memory dysfunction, gastrointestinal problems, as well as an increased risk of cancers, heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Light pollution will also affect our resident wildlife neighbors, the deer. Currently, there's a family of deer that daily visit our neighborhood to follow their foraging path. They make their way from the woods at the Universalist Church through Eagles Nest and across the rear of the properties and meadows south of Williamsburg, then finally return to the woods. The presence of the deer in our neighborhood is a source of peace and pleasure to witness. A hotel will surely destroy this aesthetic experience. A hotel in our neighborhood will not just affect our health and safety, it will affect our wealth and worth. The character of our neighborhood will change from a safe, friendly, walkable place to one where people are afraid to answer their doors, welcome a stranger, or venture out after dark. When a neighborhood loses its character, its livability declines, vacancies increase, property crimes increase, vandalism rises, marketability plummets, and property values decline. When these things happen, property owners lose pride of ownership and neighborhoods decline. The property owners of this neighborhood, and I'm speaking Eagles Nest, Robinwood Estates, and those across Morrison, are middle-class citizens. Our homes are the biggest investment most of us will ever make in our lifetimes. We care for our homes responsibly so that our homes will care for us someday. We need our homes to accrue value, not decline. Mr. Singh's application to rezone his residential property, which he bought, knowing full and well it was residential, lists only one reason to approve the request. He states that the properties on 3 of his 4 borders are zoned business variety. Indeed, they are. However, this reasoning completely ignores that there exist multiple owners and residents bordering his rear property line. Additionally, these properties are part of a well-established neighborhood consisting of dwellings that are consistent in design, structure, and use. What affects one of our neighbors' properties affects all of our properties. We strongly believe that the interests of our residents and property owners far outweigh Mr. Singh's plan to build a hotel in our midst. There are alternate landscapes in Muncie that are better suited to hotels than Williamsburg Boulevard. Please consider denying Mr. Singh's rezoning request. And just on a side note about the deer, under the urging of my granddaughter, who is 7 years old, put it in her words, but Grandma, the deer are people too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Charles Tewitt, and I'm here tonight as the president of the Robinwood Neighborhood Organization. And you've heard a lot of the concerns that we've been gathering. We've had neighborhood meetings, we've had door-to-doors, we've had conversations, emails, all of the different communications that have come in. And our neighborhood is kind of abuzz with all these concerns. Basically, we could boil these down into 3 major things: the light pollution, the noise pollution, and probably the most consistent thing is just the traffic and the danger involved with adding that. If you've been past Walmart, this is the road that you turn into right before you get to the main entrance of Walmart. If you have ever tried to turn left out of Williamsburg, you know, pack a lunch, you're going to be there all day. And so, and again, these are, you know, we can repeat these things over and over again, but I want to, there's a lack of any kind of a vision, any kind of a picture of what this will be like. And there was, in the Metropolitan Planning Commission meeting, there was really no information. There was one piece of information that we were given. And so we were said that, you know, the plan is to stay, you know, 25 feet away from the property line, right? Because that's what's required by statute, right? But I want to give you this picture. Since we're close to March and this is Indiana, this is a pretty apropos. But I want you to picture a basketball court. Now the 3-point line's at 22 feet, right? Going all the way around. Take a step or 2 back, or, you know, go to where Caitlin Clark shoots from, right? Right on the logo. That's 25 feet. So when we're talking about something that's on paper, everything looks one way. But imagine 25 feet from your back door. You've got all this activity going on, all these lights, all the traffic. Imagine a gas station, say it's midnight, 1 a.m., somebody brings in a car, and let's say they forgot their muffler that day, you know, or maybe they welded some straight pipes in, whatever is going on. All of a sudden, that's what you hear. Middle of the night, and these type of operations tend to go 24/7. 25 feet is not a lot of space, and, you know, our residents deserve to be able to enjoy the peace and tranquility of their own homes. You know, this is the biggest investment that most of us will ever make in our lives. So representing the neighborhood organization, we are humbly requesting that you deny this request for the rezoning. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Hello. Thank you very much for listening to us and for having us here this evening. My name is David Roof. I have lived in Muncie for about 15 years, resident here with my wife. I'm here in opposition to the zoning change. I've emailed everybody on the council, so I think most of my views were expressed there. I live a few doors down from Mr. Lowe, and he expressed, I think, my concerns perfectly this evening. I just want to say I work at Ball State. I think a lot of our faculty do not live in the area. That's something that's really frustrated me. I love living here in Muncie, and I'm an advocate for Muncie. Every time I'm on a search committee, I like to introduce the candidate to a realtor to show them Muncie and all we have to offer. I have 3 children that we've raised here, and I love going for a walk in our neighborhood with my son. And I'm again just asking you to deny the request to change the zoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is James Glick, and I'm a resident of Robinwood, 2409 North Moores. I sent you all emails. Appreciate your time, your service. I'm not going to be long. I just encourage you. I know someone had mentioned physical proximity. Take some time, go to the neighborhood, walk around. When you go to Lowe's or to Walmart, just imagine you're a homeowner and someone is proposing to build a 4-story hotel in your neighborhood. And ask yourself, does that really fit the neighborhood? Does that really fit the profile of a solidly middle-class community in Muncie? Now, I'm long enough. I've been in Muncie since 2006. I've relocated here from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I came here for peace and quiet. I can go back to West Philly for the hotel experience. Really encourage you to spend some time, go to the Eagles Next community. I feel for those folks. They are right there. Ask yourself, is that where you'd want to have a community? And just be mindful. I know as part of, I serve as treasurer of the neighborhood association, and I was around when we were fighting the annexation to the city, I think for these kinds of reasons. Having said that, I'm very proud to be part of the Muncie community. We have our District 4 representative here. I walk past our house every day when I walk my dog. I work from home as a financial risk consultant. This is just not the place for a hotel, for a gas station, God knows what else. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Kylene Swackhammer from the Planning Commission. I just wanted to say that the agenda describes the change as going from the R4 residence zone to the BV variety business zone, and it's actually currently R2.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, this ordinance is for introduction and therefore requires a motion for to be introduced.
We did the introduction.
Okay, do a voice vote. Any other questions from the council?
I have one thing to say. Mr. Lowe, I think you did a very phenomenal job when you said smart, good zoning. We have to think about all 4 corners when we do smart, good zoning. We have to think about both sides, both front and rear, when we're doing good zoning. I thank you for bringing that up. Just from a zoning officer in the past, that's a very logical, great way to describe that. So thank you.
Any further discussion from the council? Ms.
I
Selly?
have a comment to make as a council person at large, and this is not just for the people here. I just would like it to go on the record for anybody who is willing to come and do business with us in Muncie. We are welcoming. We welcome people to come and spend money in business, but we also, as council, care about our neighborhoods. Protecting our neighborhoods and what they look like is more important to us than the business side. So for gentlemen like you, sir, that come in here, we just want everybody to know that we do fight for our citizens, and we care for their homes and their safety, health, and their health. So I just want that to be known, that we don't take or we don't decide on decisions like that lightly. And I want to appreciate that the neighborhood from Eagles Nest to the Robinwood. Wow, you guys have been so active. We heard you loud and clear. Those emails did not stop coming. And what a role model for other communities and neighborhoods to let us know what you think, because sometimes that helps with our decision making and makes our conscious and our decision based on our conscious better and easier to make. So thank you for that.
Very well put. Any other further discussion? Councilman McIntosh.
I just want to piggyback off of Council Person Selby also. I care about our neighborhoods also, and I'm at large. But it grieves my heart when I think about or see the southeast side of our town. There's plenty of room to put hotels and bring in businesses from that, aspect. Everything seems to be going northwest and crowding out these neighborhoods that people wanted to, move into. So that's my concern too. Also, I can't tell you how to spend your money, sir, but I'm just saying that Muncie's a little bigger than just one part, north side.
Great point, Mr. McIntosh.
Hey, any further discussion from the council?
We got a great southwest side too, by the way.
Okay. All those in favor of introducing ordinance 4-25 signify by saying aye. All those opposed, the same?
Aye.
Ordinance 4-25 has been rejected with a 9-0 vote. Okay, ordinance 5-25.
Ordinance 5-25, an ordinance amending chapter 77 parking regulations of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances, payment, location, and distribution. Mr. President and Council, I would like to withdraw this ordinance 5-25.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I don't know.
Okay, this
You
ordinance is being
sponsored it,
withdrawn
right?
at the
Yeah, he
request of the
sponsored
city administration.
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, ordinance 6-25.
Ordinance 6-25, an ordinance amending chapter 77 parking regulations of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinance, Burris Laboratory School parking.
Make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilperson Powell to introduce, seconded by Councilperson Gillian. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this ordinance?
Good evening, Chief Sloan with Muncie Police.
Chief?
Thanks for having us here tonight. So I don't know if most of you are familiar with Burris Laboratory School, but there's not much parking there. Most of it's all state parking and it's really, really expensive. So over the years, there's been a system put in place, an agreement between Burris and parking to allow those students to park in certain areas. I've got Principal Ben Maga here today to kind of explain how that process works at his school. I don't want to put words in his mouth. So.
Thank you for having me. My name is Ben Maca. He gives me a little bit too much credit. I'm just assistant principal, but we'll take it. Our process as it currently sits now is that students who wish to not pay a $100 or more parking pass on campus can apply for a parking permit on the city streets. As that process goes now, they apply the form. That form is then brought to me. I take a look at those students on an individual basis and then sign off on those and approve those on the basis of attendance, grades, behavior, et cetera. That form that is signed by me and dated then goes to our school resource officer, who then sends that off to the city of Muncie and then allows them to kind of process that paperwork and those files however they do that process. To be quite honest with you, I don't know how that process works on the back end, just more so on my end. But in talking with Nathan's Sloan, we are going to be working on a process to kind of clean that up a little bit through electronic means rather than just a sign and a photograph and a picture. Nonetheless, our parking, I'm here to support the ordinance that is being put forward. Really nothing about the ordinance that's being proposed stands in great opposition to what it is that we currently do. If anything, it just kind of codifies some more of the boundaries and sets into place a little bit more of the boundaries that we have, as well as kind of defines the processes that we already have put in place. So there really is no major change in what is being done and what is being proposed versus what's being done currently. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. This is for Officer Sloan.
Okay.
I mean, not Officer Chief. I apologize to you.
I'm still an officer too. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. So for the kids that cannot afford the $100 fee, the school is going to decide who's going to be assigned that
Right.
city parking.
Right. So
You're
that's,
gonna assess money, and where's that money going?
it's, no. This doesn't have anything to do with that. So they're just being given the right to park there without being ticketed once because it's blue permit parking. Okay. And it's also 2-hour parking. And neither one of those really work for students, right? Because they're in school for more than 2 hours and they can't be running out and moving their car or doing whatever they're going to do. And they don't live necessarily in there to get a blue permit. So like he said, the process is now that the plates are sent over to Muncie Police, it's input in the system. So when we drive by and scan those cars by plate, it tells us that they're supposed to be there. And we're just getting that on the record as a process now.
Okay, any further discussion from council? Any questions from the public? Okay, all those in favor of introducing 6-25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, no resolutions. Tabled ordinances. Ordinance 27-24. Tabled ordinance 27-24, an ordinance to amend the city of Muncie comprehensive zoning ordinance from the R3 resident zone to the BV variety business zone for parcel 11-379-007-000 and parcel 11-101-379-010-000 located within the 3700 block of East Centennial Avenue, Muncie, Indiana.
What was that again?
Yeah, I was going to continue to read. Okay, is there a motion to approve of this resolution? Okay, there's no motion to approve.
Just stay on the table.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
is the person here on this table ordinance?
Is there anybody here wishing to speak on this ordinance?
We haven't taken it off, we haven't taken it off the table. It's not- Nobody's taken it off the table.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other business that anyone has? Not, we stand adjourned.
No.
Oh. Okay, public comment. Tell them it's been a long day, man.
See you later.
I'm telling you.
Should I take that personally?
Please don't.
I'm Charlize Jameson, Muncie. And I want to read a brief quote from Edmund Burke. If you don't know him, he made it in 1795, so that's why. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. And I say that because over the last few weeks and months, there's been an attack on something that we hold very dear and have a history of holding dear, and that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI has now become an ugly slur for many people in this country. And it's a couple of little ironic things that, you know, we're celebrating Black History Month. At the same time, there are those that are making efforts to rid anything that remotely resembles diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then I have these, this was not planned, but I sat here and listened to 3 wonderful essays by the youth of our community. They said it way better than I could. DEI is not a slur. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not weakness. It's one of our greatest strengths. And as I look up on this dais, several of you would be considered DEI people. As I look in this audience, several would be DEI people. The person speaking right now would be a DEI person. Many in our community would fall under the description of DEI. It's wrong. It's hate-based. And if I were sitting up there right now as one of you, I'd be making a motion for a resolution, if not an ordinance, that says the city of Muncie rejects this effort. And I would strongly encourage you to do that, to stand up against the hateful voices in our nation's capital, in the Oval Office, and in our State House. It has no place in a state that prides itself on Hoosier hospitality. It's becoming more and more Hoosier hostility based on the direction we're going. So I would strongly encourage you, somebody, craft a resolution that stands up to the trend that's happening in our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Steve Craig.
Hi, Steve Craig, Muncie. I'll be quick. This past Tuesday, Councilperson Green was at our neighborhood association meeting. He said something. I tried to confirm it since. I haven't been able to, so I thought maybe I would ask you guys. He said that our neighboring cities and counties are gathering up their homeless population, putting them in vans, bringing them to Muncie, and dropping them off. I've not heard this anywhere. I've tried to confirm it since. So wonder if any of you have heard this or can confirm that, or what is that? So, thank you.
Claretta Jolly. Yvonne Thompson. That's it.
Good evening. I stand before you speaking as Director of the Muncie Human Rights Commission. And just wanting to let the council know that the Muncie Human Rights Commission is working with individuals in the city to help get information and resources and support for immigrant situations that are taking place here in our school systems, in our churches, in our places of business. So just wanted to let you guys know that there are people that are working to help bring some comfort, somewhat of peace of mind. We are working to help get people strengthened and just to help them to be able to be who they are. We know we have undocumented people here, but we would like to ask that the resources and the funding that our police force and whomever would want to take on that particular situation with undocumented immigrants, we would hope that you would spend those dollars wisely and to help. The police department already has social workers in place and already has community engagement officers in place. That has helped tremendously to help make Muncie a more welcoming place, and we appreciate that. But we also know that there are people that are very uncomfortable right now with the climate that is going on. But again, there are people that are working. There are people that are busy to try to make things a little more comfortable. And I think we're all a little not scared, but uncertain. So that means that we need to work together. That means that human rights needs to work closely with the police department. That means that people just need to work together and be neighbors instead of enemies. And so I just wanted the council to know that and to be aware that there are people that are working to help make Muncie an even more welcoming place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Yes,
Hi,
Councilman
Ms.
Self.
Thompson. Hi. I'm an immigrant myself, so I understand the best way to kind of work with this is actually to work with immigration attorneys. And if I would encourage you to, from the Human Rights Commission, to see if attorneys here in Muncie will do some pro bono work and be proactive, because even if they're here undocumented, there's paperwork and procedures where they can put them back on track.
Yes.
So I think there are ways for us to help them. And I think the law and, communicating with attorneys and finding people that can help legally would help a lot, alleviate some of this.
We've been in contact with some lawyers in Indianapolis.
Yes.
And I think one here.
Yes, I do believe Beasley and Gilk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then Aubrey Chris
Yes.
also.
Okay, thank you.
So we're working on it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
That being said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Moved by McIntosh, seconded by Bassett. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.